Well, good morning everyone, and welcome to a drizzly July garden tour. As always, it seems I wait until the very last day of the month to do these tours, but hopefully that will give us a marker of what things look like on the last day of the month, I suppose. I want to start out by just saying thank you so much to everyone for watching my channel and subscribing. And if you happen to have a gardening channel or Instagram or anything like that that you want to share with the group here, please do post all your links in the comments section. Maybe tell us a little bit about yourself, where you garden, so that we can just grow this wonderful gardening community together. And I think Buddy will be joining us for the tour today. So we're actually here inside the main flower walk. So let me take you to the entrance to the garden. And I'm going to show you all my gardens today. It is drizzling, so hopefully my GoPro can take a little bit of moisture. And I even want to show you the front garden because there's a flower that I'm really excited about up there. And I don't think I've showed you the front garden at all this year. So let's take a look around. So as you enter my garden, you see here the dwarf Alberta spruce. There are some patches of dead clover in my lawn. I hope you don't mind too much. With 3 cats and a dog, it's kind of hard to keep the lawn looking pristine. But let's face it, I'm more all about the flowers here. I decided to put in some blood leaf behind the Bergarten sage this year, and I really like that contrast. And they're just getting started, but I seeded in some Moulin Rouge zinnias behind there for some nice red in the fall. This shrub here is a yellow twig dogwood, and it'll put on really nice yellow branches for us in the winter. And I'm really trying to work on winter interest here in my garden. The hydrangea that you're seeing there on the right of this screen is a firelight hydrangea. It will get quite large, so I'll have to move that grass and divide it eventually. And I don't know about you, but I really don't like dividing grasses, especially when they get really big like that. But it's a chore that must be done. If you see this drift of plants here, this is obedient plant. I have the purple variety. It makes a really wonderful cut flower. It is quite aggressive. But I've heard Dave Dowing say in a class I took once that there's no such thing as an aggressive plant when it comes to cut flower production. So I suppose it's all about the limelights at this point in July. I'll try to kind of just walk slowly and we can take a look at both sides of the border as we go along. So I have some seed dahlias over here, this red one here. Kind of a weak neck on that one, so I don't think I'll save the tubers. Then we come upon some Priscilla Gladiolus, and if you can see back behind her, we have Corvara lilies, which are really wonderful lilies. My first time growing that variety. It's an oriental, and I really enjoy it. Joe Pye weed, guess what guys, it's flopping over. I told myself last year I needed to divide her so she would stop doing this, and you know what, I just forgot. Vino coleus here, which I really love. I'm not even sure who produces that coleus, but it's really great. So I'm gonna take some cuttings on that and propagate it. The Winecraft Gold Smoke Bush is looking just fabulous. And you know what else I'm really happy with for the first time this year, guys? Is that I didn't want you to be able to see what kind of lies beyond when I created this garden a couple years ago. And finally we're at that point where you can't see what's around the bend. I hope you're having a great day. Even with the rain, it's just beautiful to be out here. You'll see some gladiolas kind of scattered around everywhere, and I do try to cut almost all of them. The Vitex is going out of bloom now. And we can see some more kind of red, maroon, and pink gladiolas that I don't think I'll be cutting and selling these because it's going to be raining for the next few days. And the Cosmo you're seeing there is a Rose Bonbon Cosmo, which I just couldn't be happier with her. Just absolutely beautiful. She's producing mainly maroon for me, but I'm hearing from other people that they're getting a pink. So anybody else growing the Rose Bonbon Cosmo, is it light pink for you or is it maroon? Now, of course, I had to put in some gomphrena, and I'm doing kind of a nice light purple gomphrena this year, just growing a short variety just so I can save the heads for the dried flower Christmas tree. And these are all Rose Bonbon Cosmos, but they've all been cut. That's why all their flowers are missing. Now on this side, we see a beautiful lily called Salmon Star. When the lilies are shorter like this, as soon as they open, I go ahead and remove the pollen, just for the safety of my cats. But really beautiful, kind of a light peach color. And Buddy is really talking it up today. We'll see some more what will be winter interest. Here we have a winterberry. I do have some straw flowers back there, but I've cut pretty heavily on them that I think you probably are only going to see one. I don't know if you saw B just visiting him. I have a Mama Wren living in this house, and she was really talking it up the other day when I was filming a tour all about the different lily types. Down here I just put in some echinacea, and this is lamb's ear from my grandma's garden, and I'm just kind of trying to move that lamb's ear along as the years go on. Beautiful Nicotiana. And guys, sometimes I wonder, what would my garden look like if I didn't cut and sell the flowers? But then I think, well, that just wouldn't be me. Sure, I would have a lot more flowers out here to look at, but I don't know. For me, there's just something about cutting flowers and sharing them with others, whether it be selling them or giving them away. So what you're seeing here, as always on my tour, is kind of what remains after I've cut and sold things. And most things are grown from seed or propagated, because that's just the way I like to do things. Now let me back up for you here. This area, you can really see the Annabelle hydrangea has really flopped over. And I can show you the Incredible in the front garden, which is the improved version of Annabelle, and it didn't flop. So I think I'm going to try something this year and try to sell all these Annabelle hydrangeas in this stage, in the right stage for drying, and see if they sell at the stand. Why not? Maybe someone would want to buy them. And we had the Costa Gladiolus here. They're all done and have been harvested, but we do have some Colorado yarrow left over. In case you've never visited my garden before, let me pan to the left a little bit so that you can kind of get the scope of things. So we have the raised beds there in the distance. Acusa dogwood, which is turning from its flowers to its berries, which those berries actually taste good, but the texture is really strange. Underneath our lounge chairs there is a Macintosh apple. And then as we continue to the left is my hydrangea garden. So maybe we'll just look at the hydrangea garden now. And then around the entire property, we have Rose of Sharon, bird cherry, more apples, pears, and willows. Uh-oh, it's really starting to rain now. So in this garden, it's basically all smooth hydrangeas and panicles. So we have Invincible Spirit too. This small panicle hydrangea is the Firelight Tidbit. The bigger one there is Haas Halo. I love Haas Halo. The pollinators love it too. And I think I'm going to extend the hydrangea garden, but probably not till next year. Strawberry Sunday hydrangea here. For some winter interest and some structure, I have an inkberry holly. And then as we round the corner, oh, here's Rocky. Hey, Rocky, what's it doing? He's trying to get out of the rain too. We have a Limetta hydrangea and a mini Mauvette hydrangea. But guys, you know what? I think it's raining a little bit too much now. Let me take a quick break and I'll catch you soon. Well guys, a few hours have passed, so let's try to pick up where we left off before it starts raining again. So down here, further down on the right side of the border, we have the Jewels of Opar. That's this beautiful succulent lime green foliage. I've interplanted that with some celosia. And in this blue pot, I have blue suede shoes salvia. And behind it, a great perennial that the pollinators love, which is Agastache. Another limelight hydrangea here. And then as we turn the corner, we arrive at my grandma's garden, which I hope to do some significant changes back here. You know, I'm never really sure what to do with this garden. I want it to be peaceful and relaxing and just a foliage garden. And to be honest, it really gets away from me every year. Now, in retrospect, I think I should have echoed the Dusty Miller planting over on this side. And maybe I still will try to take some cuttings and move some over here. We had the Mapira lilies over here, which were absolutely phenomenal. A great Asiatic lily, so no fragrance at all if you're not into that. And you can see here is my Solomon seal. A lot of people ask me about this shrub. I believe the cultivar is Blue Shadow, and this is a Fothergilla. And then we have my grandma's chair right there with her shoe with chicks and hens in it. And then we just have some columbine and some hostas, and later in the season we have some white mums. Anyway, circling back around here, we arrive at the raised beds, where they were really in between blooms, but we can take a look at a few things. These bags here are for bug protection, to protect from earwigs, Japanese beetles, tarnished plant bug, leaf hoppers. So as the buds are coloring up, I put the organza bags on. I let the flowers fully open in the bag, and then I just slip the bags off and move the bags to another bud. And I find I really need to do that on the breakout, the cafe. If I don't do that, they will just be riddled with bugs. So I'm not sure I have any for us to look at fully open, but I'll put a picture on the screen of some I've used recently in arrangements. Now the great thing is there are some dahlias that the bugs just don't seem to bother as much. There's less hiding places, especially in these ball dahlias. So this is Cornell, and isn't she gorgeous? So reliable, so many great blooms, long stems, nice stiff neck, really a must grow in terms of a cut flower dahlia. And over in this bed, I don't really think we have any dahlias besides maybe one burlesque that I just missed harvesting. Guys, I'll try to let one of each of these dahlia varieties bloom out so that I can do a tour to show you what each variety looks like. Now recently I showed you my sunflower successions and my zinnia successions. So that's really what we're looking at here in these raised beds. Some basil that I desperately need to harvest and make some pesto. Down here, got some yummy banana peppers. My grandfather used to pick these and then just eat them right off the plant like that. Maybe I should give that a try in his honor. I think I'm all done with carnations here on in, just really not valuable enough in my opinion for the small space that I'm growing on. Bernary giant coral zinnias just starting to open but not ready to be harvested yet. And then let me take you around the corner here to show you the limelight prime hydrangea hedge that I'm trying to establish and get your thoughts on what to do back here. So we used to have a wood pile back here along our fence. This here is ironweed. Ironweed is a really great cut flower. I noticed some questions about what was this flower when I shared a picture on Instagram. So what I have here is I put in 3 limelight primes to make a nice 4-foot hedge, because like I said, I'm not sure if my neighbor's property here is going to turn into a house. So I just want to anticipate that there's going to be a house here and have that nice limelight hydrangea hedge going. I have more espresso gladiolus, which will bloom closer into fall. I also put in some tithonia and just some sprinkling of sunflower seeds. But what I'm wondering is, I'd like to make this a more formal area. So I would like to swoop this bed out, and I'm wondering if I should plant maybe a smaller smooth hydrangea in front of these, or maybe I need to think about winter interest. Maybe I want to do, I'm not sure. Do I want to do a winterberry there? Do I want to do like an inkberry holly? I want to do something that's good for cutting. And quite frankly, I'm just not sure what to do. Maybe I'll remove the clover here and just seed in some nigella for now. I'm open to any and all suggestions on what to do here, because to be honest, I'm kind of at a loss. So let me swing us back around so you can see what it looks like at the back of the property. We just have our black raspberries back here, and my compost pile looking pretty full at the moment. I just threw some tomatoes in the ground here because this has been an area where we burned things in the past. So I think today, on this rainy day, I'll make some tomato pie with all that basil and my tomatoes here. A little bit of cracking just because of how much rain we get. Still perfectly fine. A little bit of blossom end rot. Once again, that's from the inconsistency in rain. But this will be great for making tomato pie with. So now we can walk over and see the driveway garden. The shade garden that I'm working on is looking pretty good. I need to spend some time over here weeding. So not much has changed here in this shade garden. But let's go ahead out the fence and take a look at the driveway garden. So I would say that things are really not at peak in the driveway garden at this point. Probably when you saw it in the evening garden walk was the peak for the driveway garden, because that's when all of the oriental lilies are in bloom. But we do have another beautiful gladiola to look at over here, and a nice dahlia that I grew from seed that I'm really impressed with. So let me try to think about what's new from last time. Here, guys, do you think this is Millennium Allium or is it Serendipity Allium? I can't recall. It's been a while since I planted that. It does look nice, and I think I need to kind of extend that drift. I don't think I have quite enough there to make the impact that I'm going for. I have the Denver Daisy Rudbeckia. This is where I have a lot of delphiniums that have been harvested. This is a limelight prime hydrangea just back there like the hedge. From what I saw it do last year different than the regular limelight, I feel that the color of the bloom was more lime, the color lasted longer, and it was more of a vibrant red. That's at least what I saw it do here in my garden. So I like to have both of them. I think that's nice to have the difference. Now all of these double rose lilies are pretty much done, but if you take a look at that video I did on the lily types, you'll be able to see them all in full gorgeous bloom. And I'm sorry about the road noise. My crocosmia has started to bloom. My grandma had a lot of crocosmia in her garden. This is the variety Lucifer. But let's take a walk down the path to look at the beautiful Zamora gladiola. I haven't had the heart to rip out any of these sunflowers because I'm seeing some goldfinches on them. So as you guys saw, it was just raining pretty hard there. But this is a beautiful gladiola called Zamora. But check out this dahlia that I grew from seed. It's like a beautiful cantaloupe sherbet color, and I'm just so impressed with her. Wow. Are you guys loving that as much as I'm loving it? I mean, and that's the thing with seed dahlias. I probably did about 10 to 15 maybe dahlias from seed. A lot of them I've already ripped up and removed. But this one is so beautiful. Now it's putting on some yellow, interesting. But the sherbet, and I'm not sure the camera's doing it justice, but I just don't know how else to describe it, but like a creamsicle. I just can't stop looking at it. So anyway, guys, that's pretty much it for the driveway garden this time of year. But I want to show you something really beautiful in the front that I don't see a lot of people grow. And maybe you might want to grow it in your garden because it's super easy to grow from corm. So this is my front garden, and I don't share it too much just because it's pretty loud up here, and quite frankly, I don't spend a lot of time up here. But what I really want to show you is this beautiful flower called Acidanthera. Sometimes I've heard it called peacock lilies or lily, all kinds of things. But you plant it just like a gladiola. This is the only variety that there is this white with a beautiful maroon star in the center. And if we get close enough, it actually has kind of a vanilla scent to it. So I have those scattered up here in the front. And really just some rudbeckias. So I'm really going for kind of a yellow, purple, maroon look up here. This is actually pretty much a shade garden up here. So it's surprising to kind of see what does good despite the shade. But guys, that's pretty much all that's going on up here. I just wanted to show you that beautiful flower, Acidanthera. Well guys, I want to thank you so much for joining me for this July garden tour. It looks like the rest of my day will be filled with making tomato pie, and I don't think I'll be setting up the stand today because the rain is supposed to start back up in about 15 minutes. So I think we got this tour filmed just in time. But there's one thing that I always like to try to say during these garden tours, just in case you're watching me for the first time and maybe you're not a gardener yet, or maybe you're just getting started in gardening. I just want to let you know that gardening needn't be hard or expensive, but rather it's a wonderful venture into learning and growing and having a means of therapy right in your own backyard. So maybe you find yourself in a position like me, where maybe you found yourself in the garden because you had to be in the garden. You had to find a way to help your family make some money. Maybe you find yourself in the garden like me because your heart is sad because of someone that you lost. Maybe you're in the garden because you find yourself getting stressed out easily or easy to anger. This is something that I struggle with also. And the garden helps me with all these things. It's really the only place that I found that I'm really able to quiet my mind, find that sense of peace again, and it just really brings me back to the Lord. So I want to wish you guys a great day out in your gardens. I hope they're bringing you a lot of peace and joy during this time of year. And until next time, from me, Grace, Rocky, Buddy, and Harry, and my husband and daughter, happy gardening. Bye.